Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of Super Rugby Pacific. This one, the Brumbies taking on the Hurricanes. Now, the Brumbies last week, it was anything but flawless in their game up against the Blues, whereas the Hurricanes, they once again got themselves another victory, now sitting undefeated after the first 8 games of the Super Rugby Pacific season. This is the way that the table sat at the start of the round. So we've seen the Crusaders, they have made a bit of a jump up. The Brumbies have dropped to 4th as the Chiefs have been able to overtake them. And then the Fiji and Drua getting themselves the win recently up against Moana Pacifica. But there's still a lot on the line. The Blues are right on the tail of the Hurricanes. The only loss for the Blues throughout the season coming at the hands of the Canes. But looking through at the starting lineup for the Brumbies, it is James Slipper, Billy Pollard, and Alan Alatoa starting in as the tight head prop. Darcy Swain and Cadron Neville will be the locking duo with Rob Valentini, Rory Scott, and Charlie Cale, who has had an explosive start to his Super Rugby Pacific season. Ryan Lonergan and Noah Lalicio, the 19 combo, with Tamati Tua and Len Ikitau returning in the midfield to be at number 13. Corey Toole, who has scored a lot of tries throughout this season. Ollie Satsford, and then also Tom Wright starting in as the number 15. Then for the Hurricanes, the away side, Xavier Numia in the starting lineup alongside James O'Reilly and Tyrell Lomax. So they have decided to go with O'Reilly there. Of course, Riley Nasafa Moore did suffer an injury in the last contest. Caleb Delaney and Isaiah Wakaliawiri will be the locking duo with Brad Shields, Duplessis Karefi, and also Brady Ossi starting in at number 8. TJ Perenara and Brett Cameron, the 9-10 combo. Now, Perenara recently extending his lead in terms of the try-scoring tally for overall in Super Rugby. Julian Savia unable to catch up with him just at this point. Geordie Barrett and also Peter Umaga Jensen. They are going to be the midfield combo with Salisi Deasi, Kini Naholo, and then Ruben Love back at number 15. So two very strong sides. Like I mentioned in the last game for the Hurricanes, they were able to get themselves the victory over the Fiji and Drua, 38 points to 15. What was a relatively challenging performance. They got the job done. And at the end, and then also, they were able to get the victory over the Chiefs the week prior, 36 points to 23. Then for the Brumbies, they had a big win over the Waratahs, 40 points to 16. But then that game up against the Blues happened. And like I mentioned on the podcast, like in terms of what they could have done better, you just could say everything. Like there were handling errors, there were penalties. They couldn't put together 5 phases, which I'm sure is something that they have talked about thoroughly throughout the week and have tried to heavily work on to come into this game a lot more competitive up against the Hurricanes, because they were ranked 3rd on the overall table for a reason. And that is because they are a strong side. They just need to put it together. And this matchup could weather for a banger game, hopefully. Says King Yeshua. And also a good game. And also from an Auckland to a Hurricane Brothers go. And also, but I'm cheering for the Hurricanes. My prediction is 25-22 to the Brumbies. I think the frustration will get the better of the Hurricanes, who've had 2 yellow cards, or who have had yellow cards past 2 games, says Master Yoda. And also we have got there, they do not grow old. I think that is from Brandon. We will remember. And the last post, I think that's supposed to be from Brandon as well. But yeah, nonetheless, we are getting very close to the start of this contest, ladies and gentlemen, off the bench. Some real impact for both of these sides. For the Hurricanes, they have got the option of Riley Higgins, who I remember came in for Geordie Barrett when he had his suspension and actually had some very good showings. Tavita Mafalea and also Pelosio Tosi will be the front row replacements there. And also Peter Lakai, another player to watch out for in this one. For the Canes, for the Brumbies, they have got quite a few handy options too. Jack Debenzini and Andy Muirhead, and he's very popular in this part of the world. Jerome Brown, 20. And then Tom Hooper, 19. Some very handy options to bring on in that loose forward trio, as well as a lock in Tom Hooper if they need him as well. But we've currently got the Australian national anthem being sung. New Zealand's has just been sung prior to that. That was your Anzac Day on Thursday, says Brandon. I think I ended up recording and editing for 90% of the day. So it was just like any other day for myself. And hi, all and Hamish. Says Robert, welcome in, mate. Hope you are keeping extremely well and hope you are excited for this matchup. I think Rob Valentini, either he's got a bug in the eye or he was a little bit teary during the Australian national anthem. Perhaps this game means a lot for this man. He wants a big performance here, and he's going to be playing at 6, cross from Brad Shields. Huge amount of experience on the side of the Hurricanes here, but there is also some very handy options for the Brumbies, and if they can fire more than they have in the past, I feel like maybe we might see... We could see something big here from the Brumbies, but at the same time, we could see a one-sided affair in favour of the Canes. So it's very unpredictable, this game. We will have to wait and see. Like this. So the Hurricanes at the moment are favourites. $1.47. Mate, what lingers long after your defence of Australian teams is truly ugly. Mate, what lingers long after your defence of Australian teams is truly ugly. Oh, well, that's the thing. Like, Australian sides, though, I was only defending them because literally looking at statistics, that tells you what you need to know. Like, before last round, it was 6 wins for Australian sides, 7 wins for New Zealand teams. So, to say that Australian sides haven't improved, like, if you look at the stats, it tells a different story to what people are trying to say. So, you know, the Brumbies could be competitive in this game. And there's also a chance that the Reds are competitive up against the Blues. There's a chance that the Force beat the Highlanders later on. I watch NRL, see us lose. And who do you think will win? I think the Hurricanes. I think that the Hurricanes should win. I also think that they probably aren't as much of a favourite as they should be for this matchup after the Brumbies had their last week performance. But it just tells you what is a competitive Super Rugby competition, with the fact that even an Australian side that lose by 40 points last week can still be considered as only less of an underdog than Moana Pacifica in the game up against the Fijian Drua, which ended with it being 7 points difference. That should hopefully tell us a little bit of something for this matchup. But DJ Perenara, he's played 7 games. He's had 4 starts. He's had 4 tries throughout this season. And he's had 3 try assists. He's been looking very strong. Only Tana Umanga has played more games against the Brumbies, playing his 12th match today. TJ, are the Brumbies playing in Cape Town? Your background says Katzenel. They are not. No, they're playing at GIO Stadium. Fun fact, if you were observant as well, you notice this is FMG Stadium, but I decided to leave it there in Cape Town. Of course, later on, that's going to be the last game that we have got of the weekend, where the Stormers take on Leinster. 124 games for Alan Alatoa, and I think, is it? Okay, I think, okay, says Oni. And there as well. Returns to Super Rugby for the first time since the 27th of May 2023. It's been a long layoff for Alan Alatoa. It's going to be a welcome return for the Brumbies and this contest. But Angus Gardner is going to be the referee in charge of this one. Damon Murphy and Jeremy Markey are going to be the 2 assistant referees, and Brett Cronin, the man in charge of the TMO. How many times have they met? Says Oni. In terms of in history, it's quite a few. They're actually just showing a bit of history being made by a referee as well. Angus Gardner refereeing his 111th Super Rugby game. He's going to be tying now with Jaco Piper. So if he has one more game next week, he will be the most officiated referee in all of Super Rugby history. Don't go the Hurricanes. Says Andrew, and says Oni there. And Super Rugby round 10 is not Super Round. That is true. They are just playing the regular rounds of Super Rugby. And cool, says Robert in there as well. And I feel like that's something that you don't normally think about in terms of like the referees. You know, you see them week in, week out, but like it never occurs to you how often they actually get themselves caps of their own right. But that's going to be kicked off by the Hurricanes, who are wearing the black kit for this game, going to the Brumbies, who are inside of their 22, and do kick that ball down towards the touchline. And Tom Wright's kicking has been very good as of late in terms of being able to find those kicks towards the touchline. Unfortunately, the rest of his side could not back it up in the last game up against the Blues. Now, James O'Reilly getting ready to throw in this one for the first time. Of course, normally Asafa Moore, the starter, but O'Reilly gets the nod for this game. And Moore coming off the bench last week, suffering the injury up against the Fijian Drua. Big crashing run from Geordie Barrett, sitting 40 metres out from their own line here. The Hurricanes, good shot on Caleb Delaney by Neville. Hurricanes, the goal here will be to stop the Brumbies from putting phases together early, make them feel like it's going to be a repeat of last game. That's a knock-on from Salisi Rayasi. So it is an advantage in favour of the Brumbies. Lonergan goes off to Saxford. And he will clear his lines close to the touchline. Nicely kept in the field of play now. Back across to Brett Cameron. Looking for the kick in behind. Let's go straight into the 22. Yep, says Oni. Now that one does go into touch. Very good kick from Tom Wright again here. He's just got a hefty boot. And that's probably going to be about 30 metres out from the Hurricanes line. Kicking it from his own 22 as well there, Tom Wright. So it just shows you the skill that the man's got off of his boot. And okay, I hope the Hurricanes win by. Says Oni in there as well. James O'Reilly now going to be getting ready to throw this one in. Knock on just seconds after kickoff is crazy. Says Katzenell. I mean, it happens very often though, doesn't it? Whether that's a New Zealand team or an Australian side. Katzenell. But now Duplessis Karifi going to put it back into the pocket. TJ Perenara sending it downfield, close to the touchline. Ollie Satsford. We're going to keep this one in. In fact, this time it's going to be Corey Toole running forward at Salisi Rayasi. Going to take a run from him, being one of the most informed wingers throughout the Super Rugby Pacific competition so far. Corey Toole. Tamati Tua breaks through the tackle attempt to Brayden Iossi, breaks through the tackle attempt to Tyrell Lomax and almost gets through Geordie Barrett as well. Now Noel Alessio going off to Len Ikitau, making him a welcome return in this game. Now off to the right hand side once more. Tom Wright going away to James Slipper. Ryan Lonergan going to the left-hand side to Noel Alessio, grubbing him behind from Len Ikitau, having to retreat there. Will be Ruben Love, no option but to run the ball into touch. Oh, okay, they're going back for the original advantage. Now, I think the Brumbies wouldn't have mind where that was on the field as well. They could have had the 5-metre line out. I think Rob Valentini's saying just that. He's saying, can we actually take that from where it was? Or do we have to go back for the penalty? Yeah, great kick from Len Ikitau in behind. Ruben Love, no option but to run that ball into touch. Yeah, you can take the advantage if you want, says Angus Gardner. So they will take that advantage, and that will put them now 5 metres out from the line. Okay, Angus Gardner, they're just having a bit of a conversation here. Brad Shields saying they shouldn't be allowed to do that. Angus Gardner said it was after the ball went out, though, so they do still have that option of selecting it. It looks like Corey Toole is down at the moment, getting a boot replacement or a foot replacement in some regard. Didn't look like that left foot of his was working. When is Melbourne playing? Says Katzenell, so they played yesterday up against the Crusaders, and they did lose. Now rolling maul here. Brumbies getting close to the try line. It's going to be dragged down by the Hurricanes. They've done it legally. He is offside, but the try comes for the Brumbies. And Noel Alessio scores the opening try of the contest. The Aussie side on the board first. And they are now 5-0 up over the Hurricanes. And that is a fantastic start. Much better than we saw last week for them up against the Blues. Looking composed under pressure. Brett Cameron, he was in the middle in no man's land there. He was either going to end up with a deliberate knockdown penalty try against him, or he was going to concede the try out wide, and it was the latter. It did become a reality. He is fired up big time. Noel Alessio scoring the try. Man, not many people anticipate to be able to score many tries throughout a season. That is his first of the 2024 season of Super Rugby Pacific. Now Noel Alessio ready to line up this kick. The Brumbies, but the perfect start to this match, which might almost now put them as favourites in this game up against the Hurricanes. If this kick goes over, and it's just sneaking over the left-hand post, and that will give them the 7 points to 0 lead. What a try, says Naz Williams. But the Brumbies still slight underdogs, $2.05 compared to the Hurricanes $1.82. So it's a pick-em game at the moment, according to the odds makers. Well done from Noel Alessio to be able to finish that one. Isn't the biggest man kicked out on the full by the Hurricanes? And the reset, wrong from Brett Cameron, gives the Brumbies another attacking opportunity. Maybe the Hurricanes starting to feel a little bit of that pressure. So they are going to be going for the scrum now. I think they're just talking about the fact that Corey Toole was down with one boot on, and if he had got back up and scored, because it was actually out on his wing, then Noel Alessio was able to score it. So they were saying it could have been the first time we saw a score from a player without a boot on in Super Rugby. At least in 2024 anyway. But on the halfway line, Ryan Lonergan about to feed this ball in for the Brumbies. Currently sitting 4th on the overall table. After the Chiefs got themselves the win yesterday up against the Waratahs. Now Noel Alessio, flat ball to Tamati Tua. Ball is stripped. Come on the Canes. Says Daniel Coxon now counter-attacking opportunity. Salisi Reasi going for the grubber. And that one's going to curl 5 meters out from the line. Fantastic kick from Salisi Reasi. And it gives now the Brumbies a 5-meter line out to try and deal with. And this is definitely not going to be easy for the Brumbies. 5 meters out from their own line. Billy Pollard now needs to make sure that this one is precise. It's about to be thrown in. Nicely taken by Charlie Cale. Sacked by the Hurricanes. Lonergan goes across to Valentini. Finds himself in a league strength competition with James O'Reilly. Gets driven sideways. Lonergan now going for the box kick. Does go into touch, and that will be about 22 metres out from the line now. The Hurricanes once again with the line out. There's been quite a few of those throughout this match. Both sides trying to play for the touch line a little bit. Even Brett Cameron with this kickoff, putting it out on the full. Now line out for James O'Reilly. Going to the front, nicely taken by Caleb Delaney. Duplessis Karifi gives it off to TJ Perenara, short ball to Peter Umanga Jensen. Nice haircut, Hamish, says Mana Black. I didn't actually get a haircut, but I did shave, which might be why it looks a little bit different perhaps. TJ Perenara goes off to Caleb Delaney. That's going to be offside, this time against Rory Scott. Now off to the left-hand side, Barrett, skip pass, goes out to James O'Reilly. He was in touch though. Thought he was going to be strong enough to be able to bump his way through. Umanga Jensen just asking him the question, why don't you fire that one back in, mate? They're going back for another penalty here. The Hurricanes, I don't see them taking the 3 at this point. I'd like to think that they'd kick for the corner and they'd try to add the full 7 for this match. They'll be up to Brett or Brad Shields. What does he want to do here? Do they want to slow this game down? And no, they do not. They want to kick it for the corner. Geordie Barrett looking for the touchline. And that's going to be about 7 or so meters out from the line now for the Hurricanes. They've got James O'Reilly. Will be off the back for this one. There's a very good chance of being able to score here. Maybe Duplessis Karifi. He quite enjoys being the man at the back of a rolling maul. Either way, though, it's going to be a great attacking chance for the away side. James O'Reilly throws it in the front to TJ Perenara. A lot of pressure on him by James Slipper. But the ball is still available at the back there for the Hurricanes. Bit of a counter-ruck there from the Brumbies trying to tie that ball up. Xavier Numia has to go off the back. He's driven backwards in a hard shot. Ball's there. Zaya Walker-Leawiri leaves it for Duplessis Karifi, who gets within 5 meters now. It's going to be a no advantage here against the Brumbies. They'll discipline 5 meters out from the line. Now Zaya Walker-Leawiri goes off to Brad Shields. Perenara trying to shift this one quickly. Now his quick hands from Brad Yossi goes to Geordie Barrett. Just a little mistake happening there. And they will go back now for another penalty, which I believe will have the same result of them kicking towards the corner. Okay. Angus Gardner has just said to the Brumbies, what's happening is your players are going for the ball and then they're just flopping forward. Now, that's actually something they did last week up against the Blues, although they weren't really penalised for it throughout their game. So perhaps that is why it is in their game so much at the moment. They will score off this face. Where's the fella Marco and Nate? Says Niles Williams and Draw almost have extra time. Yeah, got a little bit close near the end. Okay, Angus Gardner just saying that there's too many players lurking around. Now they've got the rugby ball. James O'Reilly goes into the front again. Big shot coming in on Caleb Delaney's back. Now rolling nicely here for the Hurricanes. It's gone down about maybe 1 metre short. Who wants it? Looks like Yossi's calling. What a terrible pass that was from Perenara. It's going to lead to the try though of Xavier Numia. Shocking pass from TJ. But Xavier Numia scores the try off the bounce. I mean, if it was the tactic, it worked perfectly. A bounce pass to Xavier Numia went underneath Brayden Yossi because he was waiting for it into his chest. We'll see it here. What does this hit? Does it hit anything? That looked on purpose from TJ. We're just going to see it here. Was there a hand on it maybe? Is that why it's a bounce pass from TJ? I think he just does a bounce pass there. I wonder whether or not that was actually on purpose. And it was worked perfectly. You don't really see many sides incorporating a bounce pass into the arsenal, but maybe it was meant to be. It looks like Xavier Nubi's taken quite a knock to the noggin, or at least the nose anyway. Cameron hits the post, and it bounces back out, so that will keep the score now at 7 points to 5. Still in favour of the Brumbies. Yeah, just a little dribbler. Did Brayden Yossi get a hand to it though? That's probably the bigger question there. 13 minutes in. They've got themselves a nice lead now. By the 2 points, the Brumbies, but the Hurricanes starting to fight back. TJ Perenara inside of the 22. Well, kick that one towards the touchline. I just heard one of the players shout, "We'll take that," so someone's relatively happy with the exit from the 22 there. Billy Pollard. And ready to go for this throw. It's cool that I'm watching the game with your commentary, Hamish. It's bang on time at the moment. There's Nars Williams. So for anyone who wants to sync up their time as well, it is 13:41 that we are currently sitting on at that point. Now Lonergan going off to the left-hand side. Lena Katau on the short side. Runs out of space and a good tackle made by Peter Umaga Jensen and Brayden Yossi. Now Kale. One of the standouts for the Brumbies in that loose forward trio throughout the early stages of Super Rugby Pacific. Neville makes a few metres, tackled by Naholo. Now a little chipper behind from Lonergan off his left boot and behind Cameron. Does take the mark. In fact, it may have even been Ruben Love who found himself at the back. For that one, they've taken the quick dab now. Geordie Barrett is going to send it downfield. Gets it to the halfway line and puts it into touch and draw versus Brumbies. Draw a 5-10. Winning Brumbies 10 out of 10 winning. CS 7-0 there. Already 15 minutes through. That's going to fly by this game. The next game that we are covering on the channel as well, ladies and gentlemen, will be the game at 9:35 PM New Zealand time. We may even have a guest or two on that live stream as well. Now Billy Pollard throwing that one in nicely, taken by Charlie Kale. Now Pollard starts to drive forward, moving up to 43 metres out. O'Reilly has to roll away. Valentini. Good strength shown by the number 6 in this contest, Noel Alessio. After Len Ekatau, good fend. Oh, that was an ugly landing for Len Ekatau. Hopefully he's going to be all right. Yep, he's back on his feet, but that could have been really bad for his knees. Definitely with him just returning from an injury. Now Lonergan. After the right-hand side, Tamati Tua has got plenty of pace. And the Brumbies score themselves their second. That was a fantastic run by Tamati Tua. He's a little bit in the same boat as the likes of a Riley Higgins, a player who got called in because of an injury. And ever since then, it's pretty much just booked himself a spot in the starting lineup. Great sell of the dummy. Uses the strength to get round James O'Reilly. And then Perenara wasn't able to change direction quick enough. I think they're just going to check here. Yeah, that's fine. Great work from Tamati Tua. Oh, that's probably not the best description of it, by the commentator because he said that Alan Alatoa was there to push him through the gap if he needed it, although pushing one of your players into the opposition is normally a penalty. Or at least it is in sevens. I could be wrong with the rugby union side of things, but normally that is penalised. So probably not what he meant to say in that case, but instead just a very good attacking run from Tamati Tua. Now, another kicking chance here for Noah Alessio. Add the extras, and he has got it over. That is now making the score 14 points to 5 in favour of the Brumbies, who are now favourites in this competition, ladies and gentlemen. It's always hard for me to pick between Moana and the Drua, because Drua at home for the people, I edged on them, says Naz Williams. Yeah, overall, this is controversial. I would say not as good of a game as the last few that we've seen before or between Moana Pacifica and the Fijian draw. I feel like it didn't quite have that free-flowingness, but that is because of the handling errors that we did see from the sides. I think Moana had about 11 throughout that game. I know here come the Brumbies, says JSP. Could it be the first loss of the season handed out here to the Canes? Another backline movement. Tamati Tua in open space gets it to Corey Toole, the speedster. But he's taken down by his opposite number, Salisi Rayasi. No Highlanders, not for this week, unfortunately. The Highlanders are the side that end up missing out just because of the fact that after that game, we've got 4 matches that we are covering. So rather than doing 6 in a row, we'd be doing 7 if we had that Highlanders one in there as well. So Highlanders Western Force is the game, sadly, this week that does end up missing out. But we are doing Reds versus Blues, followed by the 3 games of the URC that we are covering back to back to back. And please don't lose, Canes. Means my Chiefs go down to 4th, says Novmum. Isn't it weird how it changes throughout the season? How you go from supporting the Canes to then wanting them to lose, to then wanting them to win, and then wanting them to lose again. So I guess that's just the beauty of the competition, isn't it? In some regards, of you find yourself with weird alliances forming. Nice attacking run forward from the Brumbies here. And Bro Highlanders down the drain. Ask Jeff Wilson, says Nazi Williams. Now only sitting 35 metres out from the line. Noel Alessio going to the short side inside ball. Away to Rob Ballatini. Now on the outside. Noel Alessio goes to Ollie. Sets, but he's straight through. And the Brumbies get their 3rd try of the first 20 minutes. That's a shame, says Defunk. It is a shame, but it also, like, for the sake of not doing, like, I still have to eat food at some point. So that's kind of my gap. Plus, we've got someone visiting us, so we're going to be having dinner with them as well during that Highlanders versus Force game. So I'm still going to be doing something during that time, not just sitting watching the game. But, yeah, that is the game that ended up getting sacrificed for this round. But we still are going to be doing 6 games within a 24-hour period. So it's like, you know, it's still a fair bit. Most people do 1 game in 24 hours. We've got 6 still on the cards. I don't want the Canes to lose ever, says JSP. And WGF says a razor there and did a drink today. Yes, says Red. I mean, I have water down there just in case the voice does end up cutting out. But that is a fantastic try again for the Brumbies, who are absolutely flying in this contest at this point. I don't know what's happened. I don't know what's changed. But whatever it is, it's working for the Brumbies compared to last week. And that is now going to make the score 21 points to 5. When you talk about a change from week to week, James O'Reilly happened, says Razor Robinson. It looks like there might be a bit of an injury here for Cadron Neville, but it does look like he's going to be able to continue in this match. When he has a Safa back, well, Safa more is injured though, so, like, yeah, like, it's one of those ones that you have to find a replacement. If there's a player out with injury, that's another big carry forward. They're inside of their 22. Still inside, so they are able to keep this one into touch if they want, but it looks like they actually want to try and run it out. And that one's going to go out from Tom Wright. Not his best kick that we've seen. The rematch will happen, says Mr. All-In. Says sexual harassment in the workplace to slap try scorer's butt, says annoying. It depends on whether or not he gives you permission to slap it first. And I'm sure all the boys have probably consented before the game to some slaps around a little bit. And on the back, yes. On the ass, no. Says Mr. All-In. And the rematch will happen. Says Mr. All-In there as well. Well, we are going to go like that and like that. There we go. Oh, accidental offside. Scrum feed for the Hurricanes here. Something you see every once in a while, but I'll be a little bit disappointed with that. Oh, we'll go like this. And like that as well. There we go. The Hurricanes at the moment, 94% scrum success. Penalties won, they've won 15. They are very strong at busting through opposition scrum. I think that this one, I want to say the Brumbies will be a little bit more even with them. But then saying that we saw the Brumbies scrum last week struggle against the Blues. Here comes Braniorsi, pumping the legs off the back. Look for the offload. Might have been forward. They're going to check it though, and Brumbies coming for that hard. Says Unknown and Canes were lucky to get that try too. Says JSP. Yeah, well, there was a bounce pass from TJ Perenara, which I think he actually meant to do looking at the replay. He put no effort into the pass. Yeah, no, that's forward, I think, from Braniorsi. It's now going to be the scrum feed for the Brumbies. Braniorsi not happy about it. Brumbies never get a big crowd like the Raiders, says Hanoi. 23 minutes gone in this game already, ladies and gents. Like I mentioned, the next game that we have got on the channel, it is going to be the contest taking place between the Reds and the Blues. Then we have got 3 games back-to-back of the URC. Bulls versus Ospreys, Lions versus Munster, and then Stormers versus Leinster. And I think that's O'Brumbie in front. They certainly are. They have had a very good start to this contest. Noel Alicio selling the dummy, trying to run it out from his own in-goal area. That is a bit risky. They're now 5 metres out from the line. Canberra's lead country. Says a JSB now back into the pocket. Be kicked downfield. Decent kick from Tom Wright. Kanina Hola should have taken it quickly, and he waited a little bit longer. Then he takes it. I think he was still deciding whether or not his team would want him to, but they've got a lot of open space here. So Lisa Reasi, that was a terrible offload. Flick out the door, and Umaga Jensen wasn't able to take it. Now Rob Bellatini takes it quickly. And they'll go for the kick in behind now for the Brumbies. Plenty of height on that one, taken by Cameron. It's across to Ruben Love. In the middle of the field now with that kick. Awkward bouncing one for Ollie Satsford, but he runs it out of his 22. Now back to Noel Alicio. Taken by Brett Cameron on the 22-metre line. Is Kenny Naholo going to kick it? The crowd want him to run it. He's tried to chip him behind. He's been shut down straight away by the Brumbies. Now Satsford going for the 50-22. Well taken by the Hurricanes. This is a game of force back like you play at high school, and that one's gone out on the full from the Hurricanes. Upset, you reckon, Amy? There's a pretty good chance. With the way that the Brumbies have been playing early, like the Hurricanes are already $4.50 underdogs in this matchup. Hello, game getting scrappy. Says Hanoi there. But yeah, about 2 minutes straight of just kicking back and forth between the two sides there. It does result in the Brumbies managing to win that territory game. Nicely thrown in from Charlie Cale. Or to Charlie Cale, I should say. Now here comes Rob Bellatini. In fact, it's Tamati Tua again with another big carry. We'll go like this. And like that. That is going to be now another penalty, this time against James O'Reilly. And do the Brumbies play boring rugby? No, I would say that they don't. Like, the first 3 tries that they've scored, you'd have to argue have been nothing but entertainment. Yeah, O'Reilly took some huge contact there to his head. I think they've actually said that it was a high tackle. Maybe like the top of the head connected with the chin. Not boring, they in front. Says Spider Mick. Now the Brumbies have the opportunity to take a 3-pointer if they want it. Looks like James O'Reilly just getting asked the concussion tests at the moment to make sure that he is going to be all right. Right, he's going to go for an HIA here. James O'Reilly looks like he's a little bit dazed. The way that he was kind of going like this as he was getting ready to make his way from the field. Raymond Tupu will be onto the field now. Will Swain target semi-finals Summer Penny Finale when they meet two DD players. Sears Hanoi. It could be an interesting one, couldn't it? Those two going back and forth. Just tuned in. What's up with the Canes? Says Greg Barrett. I honestly, not too much. It's just been such a great start from the Brumbies. Maybe you could argue the Hurricanes discipline just a little bit, but most of the time it's just been phase play from the Brumbies, and then they find a gap and manage to get themselves over the try line. Now lining up this kick, Noel Alessio to make the score 24 points to 5. This Hurricane side, they are undefeated at this stage of the competition, and the Brumbies, they are trying to change that here. And Tupu from Palmerston North says JSP. Yeah, 24 points to 5. I'll be honest, no one was predicting this, the way that this first 27 minutes has gone. Like, yes, people can say they thought the Brumbies were going to win this game. That looks like it was partially charged down. So the Hurricanes keep their ball in the field of play. But no one expected the Brumbies to be up by 19 points in this game. Now, I'll float it back. Eossi goes to Duplessis Karifi. The question is, how long will they stay 19 points up? The moment the Hurricanes looking to get their counter-attack going with Kini Naholo. Goes straight at Billy Pollard. And wrestled down by Darcy Swain. Perenara goes back to Lomax. Duplessis Karifi. Now tackled again. Lomax playing that ball on the ground. That is knocked down by Darcy Swain. Some would say deliberately. And Gaines behind because they believe it's only Brumbies. Look who's behind, says Spider Mick. And Blues will be happy if the Canes lose, says Noi. They certainly will be. Would help them catch up a little bit on the overall table. And it would actually, now that I think about it, we'll just go to the table. This is how it's set at the start of the round, ladies and gentlemen. If the Hurricanes lose this, is that a catching attempt from Darcy Swain, or is that just a slap the ball away? Look more like slap the ball away to me. But yeah, if the Hurricanes walk away from this game with no points and the Blues get themselves a bonus point win over the Reds, the Blues will be first at the end of this round of the competition. Angus Gardner just checking on Len Ikitau here. What time the Blues on, Kiwi lads? They are playing at 9:30 or 9:35, I believe kickoff is, but we are starting at 9:30 on the channel. So far, we're seeing double the carries for the Brumbies. We're seeing more than double the carry meters for this Brumbies side as well. And already they find themselves sitting in a position of a bonus point, which is actually incorrect because the Hurricanes have scored once, the Brumbies have scored 3 times. So they would actually need one more try before they've got a bonus point. So the scoreboard up there is slightly wrong. Looks like we're going to have another scrum here now, though. Like I said, on that Reds versus Blues game, we are possibly going to have a guest on the channel, ladies and gents. At least one. I think it's just going to be one, but it should be very fun, that live stream. Be sure to check it out. That is the next one that we have got after this one. That's crazy, says Josh. A ball about to be fed in by TJ Perenara. Looks too hot for both teams, says Annoy. I mean, it's just a nice afternoon in Canberra. We'll ask Siri. What's the temperature in Canberra? Kind of did it with an Australian accent. It's 19 degrees at the moment. So, like, it's a nice afternoon. When does Artie come back? I think at the end of the season. I think because he's just in he's playing in Japan for 1 year, I thought it was. I could be wrong, though. Might be a multi-year deal. What's the Blues odds? As I can drive to the TAB to put my bet on, says Spider-Mick. I wouldn't bother. Only because they're only about $1.20 favourites, which just isn't worth the risk, really. Didn't expect that scoreline, says Josh. Now there's going to be another penalty going the way of the Hurricanes this time. Now the discipline of the Brumbies is starting to hurt them a bit. Noel Alessio, man, has been penalised for that for being offside. So Duplessis Karifi actually getting off the ground, bucking like he's a mule to get ready to join that scrum. Now, sitting at the moment 30 minutes into the contest, Hurricanes have got themselves the line out. Here comes Tupu Tupu, his first throw for the Hurricanes here. And it's a pretty important one. Where are they going to go? They go to the front, but they're just knocked on by the Hurricanes. Oh no, it's actually going to be their ball again by the sounds of it. Referee thought it was a knock on. Whereas the touch judge says no, it was not. Okay, never mind. Says Spider Mick. Oh, tell you what, Charlie Cattle's just been thrown there. Now Tupu Tupu, another throw. I don't seem as confident in his line-out ability. It's going to be nicely taken, although it didn't look that straight from the Hurricanes. It also looked like a bit of pre-engaging from the Brumbies there, though, so maybe that evens it out. Another Brumbies penalty advantage against them. Here comes Isaiah Walker-Leawiri, who's about 12 metres from the line. Now playing halfback, TJ Perenara gets it away to Tyrell Lomax. Again to the short side, Caleb Delaney. They're only a few metres out from the line now. Here comes Tupu Tupu. Around the side, Zaya Walker-Leawiri, he doesn't get there. TJ thought about sniping. He's got Karifi with him. Goes off to UC, and he is once again just, oh, is he short? No, he scored it. And it's Xavier Numia again who pops up with the try. He's having a field day at the moment. Yossi was probably about 3 inches, 4 inches short, and then Xavier Numia says, yeah, all right, I'll have this one too. Bugger it, why not? 31 minutes in, the Canes now starting their comeback again. This is a hard one to tell how this game's going to go because the Brumbies, as soon as that ill discipline started kicking in, that's when the Canes started finding really good momentum. USC must have been close there. And then just very good pickup from Xavier Numia there. Boom, just fires himself through like he's a jet plane taking off. Hey, Lucia Prop says the JSB and Numia scoring more tries than Frank's entire career tonight. Says Razor there. Yeah, I did see that Owen Frank scored himself his first try in about 5,000 days. The last time that he scored was in 2012, I think it was, or 2010. Now Brett Cameron does get that kick over. That is now going to make the score here 12 points to 24. That's not Michael Hooper in the commentary box, is it? It kind of sounds like him, but I don't think it is. Seeing as he should be in Singapore with the Sevens side at the moment for next week. He never got over in Test footy either. That was another Franks, or that was the other Franks, says Josh. See, that's the thing. Like, Ben Franks didn't score too often either, did he? So, you know, sometimes, you know, different props have different skills. Xavier Numia, a very interesting option in terms of being able to score the tries as well as do well in the scrums. I believe it is Michael. Says Razor is Kane 13 trying to copy copy James Lowe haircut. So that'll be Peter Umaga Jensen that you are referring to. It's pretty similar, to be fair. Now the Brumbies have got themselves the ball. Passing on the outside. Tamati Tua again almost managing to get himself straight through. A tackle made on Rob Valentini. They've been told to release him now. Off to the left, Darcy Swine. Another knock on there from the Brumbies. It's hurting them at the moment. The mistakes here just starting to add up. So far, we've seen 2 tries from Xavier Numia in this matchup. Tell you what, anyone who was backing him to score tries would be making an absolute fortune. He's a $36 option for being able to score a try in this game. Like the next try. So if you add him for both of those 2 Canes tries, you'd have a fair amount of change at the moment. Yeah, but it's him. He was sideline pre-game. Says Annoy. Angus Garner just asking for a bit of patience on the bind call here for these two teams. Ruben Love out there on the field looking ready to go. He has been very good this season, although he's been a little bit more quiet in the last few games. Now, big scrum. Penalty goes the way of the Hurricanes. Yossi wanted to take it quickly. He was told no by TJ Perenara. But that's that kind of impact we expect to see from that Hurricanes fullback. They have won now 16 penalties at scrum time throughout Super Rugby Pacific. You can understand why when you see the power that they bring to that scrum. Perenara giving everyone a pat on the back for the way that they were able to do that one. Looks like the Hurricanes will be kicking this one towards the touchline. Sitting about 15 metres out. It's in the shade as well, so that will be quite a nice change for some of the players if they are getting a little bit warm being out there on the field. Still in the first half, we are indeed up to 35 minutes through at the moment, and we've already had 5 tries scored from these two sides combined. Hurricane scrum is a real weapon this year, yeah, very strong. And then when you've got Brian Yossi coming off the back of that scrum and being able to run it the way that he does, same with Peter Lakai, it's just a very dangerous combo. Ruben Love, nice stepping drag down about 15 metres out for the line. Rob Ballatini looking for the turnover, wasn't able to get it. Here comes Tyrell Lomax. Would have watched Numia score 2 tries, probably feeling a bit left out, and he's not going to get one here because the penalty goes the way of the Brumbies. 16 sealing off, I believe that is, against Tupu, but also Lomax, I think, was getting penalised for that one as well. His game's better, scrum better than the Satyrs' latest scrum. It'd be interesting because, of course, it's hard to judge how strong that Crusaders scrum was when you look at how weak that Rebels scrum was, if that makes sense. So, like, it's a tricky one to be able to judge, but I think when they go head-to-head, I think it was 50-50 when they played each other last at Orange Theory Stadium, or relatively close to 50-50 anyway, in that regard. But yeah, just not able to get that ball out in the way that they wanted. Now line out here for Billy Pollard and the Brumbies. Nicely thrown into Darcy Swain. The sack is good from the Hurricanes. Well dragged down by Isaiah Walker, Leo Woody. Plenty of time, Canes come back. Says Spider-Mick. Ryan Lonergan looking to the left-hand side where there's about 7 Brumbies forwards all standing there. I'm not sure why they were all out on that side. I think it was more of just a regrouping stage for the Brumbies. Everyone having a bit of a breather, making sure they're fresh. Ryan Lonergan now kicks it high down towards the 22, and it's well taken, and the mark is called by Ruben Love. So he's going to kick this one relatively quickly. Looking to find the touchline, doesn't manage to do so. So now Noel Alicio going to be running it back. Puts the kick up high again. Well taken by Brett Cameron. Going off to Peter Umaga Jensen. At the moment, the Brumbies, they bring that physicality and that breakdown. It's going to be the penalty there. Player straightened off his feet, though. The crowd aren't happy about it. Well, once again, Darcy Swain. He's got himself in a little bit of trouble. What you think, Satyrs Hemi, first win? Says Spider-Mick. What do you think, Satyrs Hemi, first win? As in the game up against the Chiefs, that they got themselves their first victory, or the one more recently, the second one up against the Rebels that they won? Spider-Mick. They're just showing it here. The counter-ruck, yeah. They've just kind of gone in off their feet. In particular, Darcy Swain. And Brumbies looking like they are sealing off pre-contact. Says annoyed. And that's what the referee kind of warned them about earlier on. Definitely because it was when the Hurricanes had the ball, they'd just go in over. Geordie Barrett's dropped that ball. His opposite Namanau Tamati Tua getting smashed out by TJ Perenara. And they get themselves the penalty there. And the Rebels game, says Spider-Mick. Yeah, I thought it was a much better performance from the Crusaders than we have been seeing in the past few weeks. Morning, mate. I'm from South Africa, Queensland, Red fan. I'm going for the Brumbies. Now, come on, Brumbies, says Stan there. Of course, we have got the Reds game later on tonight where they are playing up against the Blues. And alongside that, we are actually covering their game that has taken place between them and, oh sorry, not them, but we are covering the 3 South African sides in the URC later on tonight as well. We are going to be scheduling those live streams straight after this one's finished, ladies and gents, so be sure to keep an eye out for that one. Now, there was a bit of a hesitation there from Billy Pollard. Great tackle made from Duplessis Karifi on Tamati Tua, but now Lonergan gets another flat pass away. I didn't see anything wrong there. Says Razor Robinson for the Darcy Swain penalty or for the one beforehand, Razor. It's going to be another penalty. Or sorry, not another penalty. Another siren sounding for half-time. Tamati Tua tries to go around the side. I think he stood on his teammate's leg. That one going to be a good one, says Steen. Yeah, it's going to be a great game. Same with some of those URC ones as well later on. Oh, great run from Tom Wright. Ball on the outside to Noel Alessio. Only a couple metres short now for the Brumbies. Where is Rob Valentini? Can they find him? That was risky. And that ball's gone into touch. It was a knock on as well, in fact. Oh, no. It hasn't gone out yet. Now it goes into touch. And that is now going to be half-time in this contest. 24 points to 12. The Brumbies have themselves a nice lead. The one most recently, Angus suggested not rolling away, says Razor Robinson, although I think there was actually another penalty that they had given away only a few metres prior to that. So either way, it was going to be going back for the penalty in that one. I think it was just on the 22 they gave away the penalty there, the Hurricanes. That's all right. We've got the fire going, ladies and gents. So I'm going to be in the sauna for the second half, but that's nice, you know. It's a nice change from the 4 degrees Celsius that we had last night when we were streaming. A half-time at the moment, 12 points to 24. At the moment is how this one sits. Looking at some of the odds, of course, one side is favourite, one side is not. And that side being the favourite, of course, is the Brumbies. In the match stats department, double the running metres for the Brumbies. Double, or in fact, about 4 times the defenders beaten almost in this game for the Brumbies here. More clean breaks, 4 times as many. In the offloads, they have got a bit of an advantage there as well. Quite a few missed tackles from the Hurricanes and penalties. 3 against the Hurricanes, 5 against the Brumbies for that first half. Good day, Hamish, says Brian. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are keeping well. I hope you are excited for plenty more rugby taking place later on tonight. In coffee time, be back in 5 or so, says Spider Mick. Also looking just quickly at some player stats, most running metres for the Brumbies. No surprises here. It is Tamati Tua, sitting with 85 metres carried. Not a single turnover for Karifi. The Brumbies must be cheating. That's impossible, says Razor. Although normally he does fully commit to the breakdown, doesn't he, Duplessis Karifi? But I think that, I don't know, it's a tricky one because Angus Gardner did give them the warning earlier on, so he will be keeping a close eye on it. But I think Karifi's made a lot more tackles in that first half than he has turnovers. We'll see the stat here very soon. But yeah, Tamati Tua, the most running metres, most defenders beaten as well out of any player throughout that first half. Running metres made, James O'Reilly had 16. And then, of course, he was taken off for his HIA. Where are they playing? New Zealand or Australia? It is being played in Australia at GIO Stadium for this contest. Tackles made, Rory Scott made 7. He has got the most out of any of the Brumbies players. And then Duplessis Karifi, believe it or not, he's only made the 4 tackles. It's actually Bryn Yossi who's been making a lot more of the tackles here for the Canes. He's made 9 and also got himself the turnover 1 in that first half as well. But we've only seen 1 try scorer for the Hurricanes in this contest. That was Xavier Numia. He's done extremely well. I think the big question here and now is who's going to step up in the second half for the Hurricanes, because they are down by 12. And Rob is there to look after Karifi, says Steen. Looking through at their benches for the Brumbies, they have got McInnery, I should say, at number 16, Scoop and Kautai, 2 other options that they can bring on in the front row. Tom Hooper, as well as Jerome Brown, and Harry Goddard, Jack DeBrinck-Zini, and Andy Muirhead, the last man off the bench. For the Hurricanes, they have already made the change of Tupu. That is because of the head knocker James O'Reilly. He is yet to return to the field, so I wonder whether or not he actually will be able to. Davida Mafaleo, also Apelosio Tosi is there at 18. Ben Grant, Peter Lakai, and then also Richard Judd, Riley Higgins. And then alongside them, they have got Balin Sullivan as the last man available. They're just showing some of the highlights of the tries early on from the Brumbies, and they have been looking all class for this game. They could have easily been caught up with the result from last week where they were heavily defeated by the Blues, and they could have let that get to them, but it seems like they've made a lot of good improvements compared to that last game, and they're looking a lot more competitive in this contest than they did in that game up against the Blues. And if anyone is wondering who have they got next, they've got the Fijian Drua. That is going to be the next contest on the cards for the Brumbies. That is at 9:35 p.m. on Saturday night next weekend. We are, I believe, going to be covering that one on the channel, although at the same time, I believe there might be some sevens on, so we'll see which one does overlap there. The Hurricanes, their next game is going to be up against the Waratahs. They are back in Wellington. It was Michael Hooper's voice that I heard just before. I thought he would have been training with the Sevens boys. Maybe he's been left out of that squad, trying to ease him into it before heading into the Olympics, where they are looking to have him as a part of the squad. But yeah, 6 days, 22 hours, or a little bit less than that now, because of the, I guess, the bit of time since I got that screenshot. So, yeah, next game for the Hurricanes up against the Waratahs. Along to the Olympics, odds Argentina wins there. Says Katzenau. I think we're still another 2 and a bit months away from the Olympics. I'll just have a very quick look. Olympics. That's not how you spell it. It is the 26th of July to the 11th of August. So currently in April, May, June. So we're 3 months away at the moment from the first stage of the Olympics. And odds Argentina wins there. Ooh. Now, this is going to sound harsh, right? And I don't want it to. But I think that with Argentina not having Marcos Mineta, they don't look like that same Pumas side that were on that massive winning streak. Like, they've had a couple struggling games throughout the last couple legs of the Sevens. And the fact that they lost that winning streak, I think, took a bit of their confidence away. That's not to say that they can't do well. I just think that maybe if they aren't able to find that rhythm again early on in the comp, they may find themselves finishing, looking for that bronze rather than that gold. Even in the World Rugby 7 Series, I think that next leg where they're going to be going head-to-head with, once again, some very strong sides, not the one this weekend, but the weekend after when they're into the finals games, I do worry a little bit for Argentina that they may end up having a loss that could cost them a title, even though I think they're the deserved winners of this year's competition overall. But, it's an unfortunate layout in some regards because it's not just based off the points anymore. You actually have those playoff games. Argentina did terribly the last tournament, right? Particularly in comparison to how they were earlier. Says Razor Robinson, that is true. Although last Olympics, we've got to remember, Argentina got themselves that gold, playing with 5 men on the field, managing to take down South Africa. So, at the Olympics, they actually did a lot better than a lot of people anticipated last time they headed into an Olympic competition. The possession and territory both in favour of the Brumbies. They've got apparently the Brumbies scored 6 tries and the Hurricanes scored 4. So that is not a correct stat, ladies and gentlemen, that they did just show. Okay, the Brumbies coach has just said pretty much that the boys are ripping into each other for not doing what the message was before the game. South Africa have been off form also recently. That is true. They've been struggling a little bit with that changeover from the old players that were on a massive winning streak once again. But then they had that switch. They've lost some of their big guys. JC Pretorius, he's left. They are, looking through Saviwe Soyas-Wapi. They no longer have. Well, that's the thing. There's a few other guys who are playing, but they aren't playing consistently. So, that's going to hurt them as well. I think that Shilton Van Veek, though, is a very good option for them in the future. Maybe he could be the Saviwe Soyas-Wapi replacement. It just takes a bit more time to build those guys up. Similar to what Fiji are experiencing. And they're giving a few young guys a chance. Similar to what we're seeing for Samoa how they are giving some new guys the chance rather than their classic names that we've seen in the past. Second half just around the corner from getting back underway, ladies and gentlemen. We are currently 4 hours away from the next contest we are covering on the channel. That is the game between the Blues and the Reds. We aren't doing that game between the Western Force and the Highlanders, but we are covering that game straight after, as well as the 3 games of the URC that are taking place from 1 a.m. New Zealand time onwards. SA says staying there. Yeah, the first game that we're covering in the URC is the Bulls versus Ospreys. I think the Ospreys played a lot better in their last contest than many people anticipated. JC Pretorius' talent being wasted at the Lions. Should consider his future, says Katzenell. Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, I assume his future, he does want to stay in Union, doesn't he? But it's all about getting that next contract. Like, the player can only do so much, if that makes sense. Like, if you're not getting an offer from another club, then unfortunately you do get stuck at one location. And maybe the way that he could get a big contract is going back to sevens. You know, maybe getting signed by a French side or a Japanese team, similar to what we saw for what I found out, Va'a Pilomaliko. He's actually signed with one of the French teams, so that is why he is not on the 7th circuit at the moment. In your opinion, what do the Hurricanes need to do to win this game? I think that they just need to keep that ball in their hands. I don't think overall their defence, like, it was all right. Like, there were a few times that down the wide channels, the Brumbies were able to bust their way through, but I think that was more down to the errors they were making beforehand. So they just need to make sure they're a little bit more, I guess, competitive in the breakdown, but also not afraid to really throw everything at that counter-attack. They've had 2 tries, both scored by their loose head prop. Let's see one of the backs get themselves a try in this second half. And here for the Reds game, come on, Hunter Campbell and all the Reds' big names. Says it's staying. Yeah, it's going to be some handy players out there on the field for the Reds up against the Blues side that, you know, I don't want to jinx anything and I don't want to make any predictions, but could we see the Reds start the game up against the Blues in the same way that the Brumbies have started this game up against the Hurricanes? If they're able to do so, you know, have the Blues really been tested? I think the only game that they were heavily tested in was probably that match up against, first of all, the Hurricanes, which they did lose. And then the other game that I think they were most tested in was probably that game up against the Waratahs, just because it was an ugly, scrappy game. And in the end, they got themselves the win 12 points to 10, I believe it was, about midway through the season. Second half, almost here. I like to see the Blues playing catch-up. Says Katzenell. Well, yeah, it's just one of those ones that it'd be interesting to see how they do it, because even in that game up against the Hurricanes, like, there were moments where they were behind and they started firing, but then the Hurricanes kept on getting just that one more try. Are we going to come out? We're going to come all out, Amish? Says Stan. And Blues defense too good. Blues by 15 plus, says Josh. And there as well. And like I said, I'll probably have a guest on that live stream, ladies and gents. If I am lucky, hopefully can get something slightly organised there. But yeah, will be interesting. See how that matchup ends up going. It's starting to get quite warm in the room. I mentioned about how the fire was going earlier on. And yeah, it's kicking in at the moment. So sorry for stripping on stream. It's the first time I think I have stripped on a live stream before. At least a public one anyway, eh? You know, yeah. And Talia to get the double, says Josh there. And Blues defense too good. Why does my head look like it's not central in my shirt? How do I fix that? Put that way, I guess, yeah. All little things you notice. But second half, like I mentioned, important for these two sides. Definitely the first, I would say, 10 minutes. That's going to be the big determining factor in this contest. They are just advertising the sevens. Of course, the Singapore sevens is the one that is going to be taking place very soon. And it is next weekend that we get to see those games in action. Also, for anyone who is keen on the Under-20 Rugby Championship, we are going to be covering that one on the channel as well. That is happening Thursday night, 7 p.m. New Zealand time. And then the game after that, 9 p.m. will be Australia versus Argentina's Under-20s First game, though, South Africa, New Zealand. That is one you will not want to miss. And who's Hamish Sexy Man? Says Naz Williams in there as well. But the second half, just very close to get it underway. Two sides about to run back out onto the park. They always have a long halftime break in Australia. And Talia must not run into Hunter. And his career is over. Worried for him. And here's your tip, Hamish. Tuned in at the right time. Says Simran in there as well. Yeah, I mentioned it was my first ever strip on YouTube, I think. Unless I've had like a late night live stream, I can't remember. I don't think so. But yeah, welcome in. Hope you are doing well. Talia says a stand there, but both sides just about to make their way out onto the field. Hurricanes, they are down by 12, but they still have that competitive spirit. They're $3.40 underdogs as we currently sit in this contest, ladies and gentlemen. Now the question is, can they come out firing? Or will the Brumbies be able to seal the deal? That's a question. We're about to find it out as they make their way onto the field. Hurricanes have an uphill second half to complete. Come on, lads. Our French under-20s are simply impregnable, says Katzenel. Now the Brumbies. Oh, Elena Lalatoa is off the field. Sifu Kautai has made his way on. 40 minutes to really get going up against a strong Hurricanes scrum. Karifi to score first off a line-out drive, says Josh. Could be an option. I feel like in this scenario, the Hurricanes do need to go for the 7-pointers rather than the 3. We've seen enough attacking intent from the Brumbies to say that they will probably score at least one more try throughout this half. But the second half now underway. And we are now ready to go. TJ Perenara takes it nicely for the Hurricanes. Does put that one into touch. Very nicely kicked from TJ, about 47 metres out now from their line, the Hurricanes. Going to be all about getting that early turnover. Looking straight into the sun for Billy Pollard. Well claimed by Charlie Cale. Now a rolling maul. Doesn't look like it's going forward, so the Brumbies do have to use it. Here comes Tamati Tua. He's had a sensational first 40 minutes. Lonergan going across to Darcy Swain. Geordie Barrett trying to get into the breakdown to get the turnover. Isn't able to do so. Ryan Lonergan again. Going back to Sifu Kautai. Flat line there for the Hurricanes in defence. Come on, Ruben Love, says John. Another big shot on Darcy Swain. That was by TJ Perenara. There's a new advantage this time for not rolling away against Tupu Tupu. Unfortunately, that could hurt them quite badly. Having an inexperienced hooker on the field. You change your top. Says no, I stripped. I had a jersey on and I took it off. So now I'm a little bit closer to naked. 41 minutes through. 39 to go. And the Hurricanes, I don't know what... Yeah, unfortunately he was very stuck. I was going to say, I don't know what they need to do in terms of one really big thing to turn this game around. They've got a few little things that they've got to work on first. Oh, they're going for the corner here. Noel Alessio. Maybe she'll be a good horse racing commentator, says Mana Black. I've been told that quite a bit, and also an auctioneer. If I was trying to sell someone's house, I might do all right. And Tamati Tua possibly play for Northland NPC. He did indeed, yeah. He's a Kiwi boy. He's doing extremely well in that midfield. Now Billy Pollard, 22 metres out from the line. Chance here, nicely taken by Darcy Swain. Looping around Billy Pollard. Going across the Tamati Tua. Hit by Tupu Tupu. One of the turnover, wasn't able to get it now. James Slipper. Tackled by Caleb Delaney. On the side of the breakdown, last thing the Hurricanes want is another penalty against them. Have to get that discipline right. Tackle on Rob Valentini by Tupu Tupu again. To the left-hand side. Ball's still available. Lonergan. Oh, that's close. Nope, the ball's popped out the back door. And the Brumbies are back in position. I thought for a second that the Hurricanes may have got themselves a turnover. Here comes Rob Valentini again. 10 metres out from the line. We've hardly seen Corey Toole get an attacking chance. Perhaps this is when we're going to see it, or is it actually Andy Muirhead on the field now? Another offside advantage against the Hurricanes. Ball knocked on by the Brumbies, I believe, around that breakdown. Now Valentini consider going. Little pop out the back door. Another skip pass taken out wide by the Hurricanes. And they'll go back for the original penalty. Come on, Rod, running hard. Says Steen. Oh, this is going to get close to the last warning, I would say, for the Hurricanes here. Just short of the try line for the Brumbies where the penalty was conceded. Probably only about 5 metres out from the try line here. And is this where you take... I'd take the 3. I think that's what they're going to do because this will give them a 15-point lead, which means the Hurricanes need a lot to get back into the contest. Noah Lulicio lining up this kick now for the Brumbies. And he gets it over. Now making the score 27 points to 12 in favour of the Brumbies. This is uncharted territory. My husband says Hamish sounds like a horse racing commentator. That's probably fair enough. Yeah, I get excited and then I talk really quick. And then I kind of forget how fast I'm talking. If that makes sense. Now rolling the ball back. Ryan Lonergan. Puts it up and under from outside of his 22. Run onto this one was Ruben Love. Beautifully taken. And he's almost found a bit of a gap here. Ruben Love still stepping. Look for the pass. Sits up for Salisi Rayasi as they move up to only sitting 15 metres out. He wants the offer. Gets it to Shield. Bazzes in the corner. Geordie Barrett that is. And it's going to be the try to the Hurricanes now. That's how you get back into a game. I don't know why I called him Bazza. I just got excited, I think. I don't even know if his nickname is Bazza. I'd say Geordie almost sounds like a nickname on its own, doesn't it? Geords. I guess you could shorten Geordie too. Barrett, Bar. No, not really. So Bazza's probably close. But why is it a Z? A nice try out wide, though, from Geordie Barrett. Beautiful stuff for Rayasi. Keep the defence in mind. Yeah, he was forever looking for that offload. And to be fair, like that takes a huge amount of skill for Salisi Rayasi to keep on selling as if he was going to pass it out wide and then actually still have control of the ball enough to be able to pass when you got 2 men on you. And Geordie Barrett scores it. So they're now 27 points to 17. Score is back on the cards now. If this kick from Cameron goes over, he's probably going to be looking. Fire back straight away after this too. And yep, does get it over. It's going to make the score now 27 points to 19. A close game at the moment. Hurricanes are $2.60 underdogs as we currently sit. Well, we will go like this. And we will go like that as well. There we go. His legal name is Jordan. Yeah, so Geordie is his nickname theoretically, isn't it? Now, kicking this one off. Nicely taken by Jordan Barrett. Doesn't have the same ring, does it? Big kick downfield. Doesn't find the touchline. Tom Wright. Thought about going on the outside, but instead will put up a kick of his own. He's got one of the biggest boots in Super Rugby Pacific. Here comes Jordan Barrett. Says Josh. Nice kick again from Geordie. Down to just outside of the 22. Ollie Satsford looking for the court. No, in fact, he's gone straight down the middle of the park. Seems risky as they're just playing once again a game of territory. Nicely taken by Tom Wright. Does he consider going for the 50-22? No, instead he will run it into the half of the Hurricanes. Come on, ye Hurricanes, says JSB. And more like the Richies, says Novmum there. That's going to be nicely controlled by the Brumbies. Noel Alessio in behind Elena Ikitau. Now Rory Scott breaks through one tackle attempt from Duplessis Karifi. It's tackled the next time round. Ollie Satsford. He's played alongside a few of these boys in the Bunnings NBC for the Magpies. Lonergan goes short side again to Ollie Satsford, Jordan Barrett, or Jordan, brother of Bowden and Scott Barrett. And also we have got there Brumbies Canes is always an exciting match. Little chip behind from Noel Alessio. Oh, wasn't cleaned up well by Geordie Barrett, but he did enough in terms of putting something on the ball to stop it from sitting up for the Brumbies. Knocked it back to his teammate, and it's a great clearance from Brett Cameron. But once again, they are under pressure, and Kane Barrett says at JSP. The Brums Canes is always an exciting match season. It certainly is, and it certainly is a little bit more in favour of the Brumbies than some people anticipated going into this contest. And true, I can't forget Kane, says Josh. Another attack and run. Geordie Barrett manages to get the turnover. Good hands from Peter Umaga Jensen. Breaks through one tackle attempt. Valentini tries to hold him up. He manages to strip it. But Ruben Love now flying down the wing. Does the chip in behind. He was slightly taken out. And it's going to roll into touch. I don't think he would have got there anyway. But they've got the option of now either the scrum or the 22 dropout. Tom Wright takes it quickly. He wanted to take it, but the referee tells him no. That is because someone else on his team already called for the scrum. Yeah, good effort from Andy Muirhead to just put enough of a oomph in on him. He wouldn't have got there anyway. And let's go to Canes easy comeback. Says Josh. Although as that clock starts to tick down, the pressure, of course, also starts to build. Oh, Alatoa. They are just showing he's coming off the field for Sefu Kautai. That was actually a change that they made at halftime. And also Toole was off the field for Andy Muirhead, seeing as he had a bit of an ankle issue. I see now that it looks like Bren Yossi, his day is done. They've decided to put Peter Lakai now onto the field. Change has been made. Bren Yossi taking off the field. Looks like there's another HIA in this game as well. It is for Len Ikitau. Took a bit of a head knock there. Looks like it's actually swelling up on that side of his face as well. Might have been a nasty knock to the cheek. And Lakai on, it's over. Says Mana Black. He's a fantastic player. Peter Lakai. It's quite a bit. Oh. Yeah, he might have taken a bit of a knock there. I think it was. Bro, you been working out? Nah, not at all. Since the end of cricket season, I've hardly done anything, to be fair. So I probably should, but we've been quite busy with the streams. So then I just end up editing rather than exercising. Ikitau. Been taken off, and that is for Jack Debrinkzini, as the man who's been added onto the field. Now Ryan Lonergan, massive push there from the Hurricanes. Very unlucky not to get the penalty. Lonergan almost kicked that one straight into touch. Going to be the Hurricanes line out now. See the frustration on his face as well there, Ryan Lonergan. Needed that one to be a little bit more precise. Hurricanes chance there. Brett Cameron knocks that ball on. Going to be just a knock-on advantage for the Brumbies now. Advantage is over. Now Tom Wright wrestled down by Umaga Jensen. Now again, another offload to Noel Alessio. Here comes Rob Valentini. Well tackled by Geordie Barrett. A little bit slow getting back up to his feet. Chipped him on from Tom Wright. Satsford is chasing it, and Ruben Love gets there just in time. I don't know if either of them actually grounded that ball though. I think it's going to be a goal line dropout. Okay, Ruben Love was asking, didn't he knock it on? And then Angus Gardner just clarified, knock on in goal from the attacking side is still a goal line dropout. Is it? I always thought it was a... I didn't know. I thought it was actually a scrum. Ruben Love should be a bolter in the All Black squad. At least says JSB. Another attack and run for the Brumbies there. And few says John. Now Ryan Lonergan going back across to the right-hand side. Nolalesio and behind to Tom Wright. Now shifting it through the hands. Kale goes to Muirhead. Going to be the knock-on there from the Brumbies. And we're back for another scrum feed. That's an odd rule, says Razor. Yeah, the way that you'd think that if an attacking side dropped the ball, like if they dropped it over the line, when they go for a try and it's called as a knock-on, normally it is a scrum, is it not? So I guess it's a bit of a blurred line with that one. We're just talking to Alan Alatoa about the 40 minutes that he experienced out there on the field after having a long layoff. 53 minutes through at the moment. Looks like TJ Perenara about to feed this ball in for the Hurricanes. Ball is now in. Big push there. Perenara loves it. And it is going to be now the penalty once again to the Hurricanes, who are only down by 8 at the moment. We've got to remember there's still 26 minutes remaining in this contest. Anything can happen in those 26 minutes. But our next live stream, ladies and gentlemen, for anyone who doesn't know, it will be taking place in about will be taking place in about 3.5 hours. That is the contest taking place between the Reds and the Blues. And on that live stream, we are actually going to have a guest on the channel. We haven't done a 2-person or a 3-person live stream in probably about 6 months. So we're going to have a guest. Be sure to check that out. I won't tell you who the guest is as of yet, but yeah, it'll be good. Have someone sitting next to me giving us some banter as well as a little bit of rugby knowledge as well. JSB agreed. He's so good at creating opportunities, says John. Now it's going to be Tupu lining this one up to throw it over the top. Nicely claimed by Brett Cameron. And behind it, TJ Perenara wanted the offload to Duplessis Karifi, who was almost tackled before the ball even reached him. It's going to be the knock-on advantage there against the Hurricanes. And it looks like Slipper's having a tough time with Tyrell on the opposite side. Yeah, the scrum of the Hurricanes has just been very, very strong. That one not finding touch. Now Brett Cameron will fire it back across to Kini Noholo. He's on the halfway line at the moment trying to find the next gap. Tackle release is the call there, Perenara. That's got to be a penalty, doesn't it? The Hurricanes, yeah, they've got that ball back. I was going to say, because the reason there was such a counter-ruck was because there was a Brumbies player lying on the wrong side of the breakdown, which then didn't allow the Hurricanes clean-out to come in. What Kane's got to do to get back into the game, score a try within the next 10 minutes, I would say. And I know that sounds simple and you probably wanted a bit more like expert analysis in that regard, but I think they just have to shift it through their hands and find open space, similar to what they're doing here. Ruben Love passes on the outside to Peter Umaga Jensen. Just like that, the Hurricanes have gained 30 metres and they move back into the opposition 22. Shields went for the offload. Another knock-on from Duplessis Karifi. He's not having an easy day, and he's played that ball on the ground, so it becomes the penalty. Quick tap taken by the Brumbies. Tom Wright back across there to the left-hand side to Rory Scott. Well, cheese number 10 just saying Love is good. Cheese number 10 is on another level, says Stan there. I assume you're talking about Damien McKenzie in that regard. So Lisa Dayasi now inside of his 22. Taking his time to line up a big boot downfield. Fantastic kick. And the Brumbies, they decide to take that one quickly with Tom Wright, as it was the better option than allowing the line out to take place. He goes through now. Great stepping from Tom Wright, who's lighting this competition and game on fire. Gets it away to Muirhead. fallen the wrong way, and there's a knock-on from the Brumbies. Got the Hurricanes a plus 11.5 live early. How does it feel? So you got the Hurricanes for plus 11.5. They should be all right, seeing as they were favourites going into this game, but it's always hard to tell whether or not the Brumbies are going to score very soon, because they are starting to put together some very nice phases. What do you say, Hamish? About Damien McKenzie, I assume that is, and Kane's not going to come back if they make mistakes. Big shot on Black Scoop. Ball's there. Ryan Lonergan goes off to Noah Lolesio. Lonergan off to the big man's shop. Now kick to behind from Ryan Lonergan. Well taken by Ruben Love. Calls for the mark as he gets crushed by Charlie Cale. They should check the Tom Wright pass to himself. Looked forward, says Razor Robinson. Zai Walker-Leowiti now off to Peter Luckguy. He's fresh since recently making his way onto the park. They're 40 metres out from the line here for the Hurricanes. Zai Walker-Leowiti has to play a half-back. Good driving tackle. Ball's still there, yeah, about him and Love, says Stam. I mean, I think that they both have a good chance, and Ruben Love's been playing fullback more than, like, McKenzie, because McKenzie's been playing as fly half throughout the season. Thanks for the acknowledgement. No worries at all. Hopefully it does work out for you. The Canes are close to getting back into this contest. They just need that one big try. Or maybe the 3 points might be what they take next, which would still work out, I believe, for yourself. But Ryan Lonergan now going off to the left-hand side. McInerney leaves it there. This last 22 minutes, I feel, is going to be a slow one for these two teams as they just wait patiently. Close out this contest. The Brumbies, they wouldn't mind 1 or 2 more tries on the board. Geordie Barrett tried to pass it to Kenny Naholo, who was asleep behind him. And it means now that the Brumbies have got themselves another scrum feed here. Naholo disappointed. He was waiting at the back of the breakdown because he was ready to join it, but Geordie Barrett thought that meant he was ready to get the offload, which he was not. 5 errors for both of these sides, though. Hold on to the blimmin' ball, says Spider Mick. Yeah, like that's something, though, that we have to really credit the Brumbies with. Oh, no, Kenny Naholo called for the ball, and then he got the ball past him and didn't catch it. But like last week, the Brumbies were struggling to put together 5 phases throughout their game up against the Blues. And in just 7 days, they have turned around how they've played completely, and they're at the moment leading up against the top of the table, the undefeated Hurricanes. So it shows how quickly a week can get you in the right direction or the wrong direction. Because, like, other than those, like, the Hurricanes have made some bad decisions in this game, but I also wouldn't say that they are playing absolutely terribly in this contest. It's just in the early stages, the Brumbies were the better side when it came to being able to score the points. Nice little shot there in the background of James Slipper actually having a chat to Michael Hooper. Of course, those two men spending a lot of time together in the Wallabies camp. That's why Larkham is about to make things right in a week, says Stan. And I was aware of how much time left, says Daryl. We've still got another 21 minutes remaining. So plenty of time for both of these sides. Sorry, my scoreboard hasn't been updated. There we go. Has now updated a little bit more. Now Ryan Lonergan to feed this ball into the scrum. They're about 25 metres out from the Hurricanes line. In fact, it's going to be Goddard who has recently made his way on, and the Hurricanes get themselves the penalty. Their scrum has been the superior throughout the first 16 minutes. Shot this time as the man who goes down. He's frustrated as well, the big man. I hit refresh the page. Got kicked 2 or mate. I hit refresh the page and I got kicked 2 or mate. I'm confused, Robert. What does that mean? Got kicked 2. I hit refresh the page and I got kicked to your mate. Is that? Maybe. It's going to be lost forward from the Hurricanes. Another mistake there. Let's go, the Hurricanes never give up, says Daryl. They tried another sneaky set play, and unfortunately for them, once again, it hasn't quite worked out. And I think that Tupu is under a huge amount of pressure here They went to the front, and it's just straight through the hands of David Mafaleo. Yes, mate, says Robert there. I'm still confused what that means, Robert. Like, you refreshed and you're here, or like, did it freeze or something, maybe? Or the effort's going on, says Razor. Yeah, no one can catch the ball at the moment for the Hurricanes, which is costing them hugely in this matchup. 20 minutes remaining on the clock now. And up the Canes, OG fan from Porirua, based in Sydney, says VKM. Warriors under 17 won the title today. Says Mana, straight up basics failing today. Yeah, it's just the handling at the moment is going extremely wrong for the Hurricanes. That's the simple discipline. It's going wrong as well. Goddard goes back across there and behind. It's almost tackling a man without the ball by the Hurricanes. Now passing on the outside. Tamati Tua goes for the grubber. It's going to sit up nicely for Ruben Love, who decides he wants to try and run this ball back. TJ about to score the try. Says Pete D. And communication. Loaded up rugby itch. Oh, right. Interesting. I didn't know that it would do that. Maybe did you click on his one instead, Robert? My internet's going a little screwy, says Robert there as well. But nicely kicked downfield, although stays in the field of play. Brumbies now looking to get that counter-attack going with Tom Wright, who for me at the moment is man of the match. And the way that he's been able to kick, that's going to be another advantage for not rolling away from the Hurricanes. Playing most of the second half under penalty advantage. Der Brinks-Zini. One of that kicking behind to Satsford. And they'll go back for another penalty. Simple mistakes for the Hurricanes, says Daryl Samuelu. And the thing is, these are the type of mistakes that you can't really afford to be making when you're down by 8 points. If you were down by 6, maybe. Not ideally, but maybe. But if you're down by 8, and you're starting to make these kind of errors, that is when it gets very difficult, because if they get themselves another converted try, you are then pretty much out of the contest. And it looks like the Hurricanes are once again going to have to defend a line-out, because Noel Alessio, he is kicking this one towards the corner. Go to Canes, says Christopher Dixon. And also, no, he's on my other screen, says Robert. And there as well. Currently 18 minutes remaining. I'm going to call it now. Canberra curse continues, says Mana Black. I think it happened last year, didn't it, Mana Black? If I'm correct, between the Hurricanes and the Brumbies. Position at the moment, 62%. Referee watching on for this one to see if it is straight. Although looking straight into the sun, it's going to be extremely hard to judge. They're being told to use it once. A little bit of a push and shove there between Tavita Mafaleo and one of the other players. Another penalty advantage for the Brumbies. What the Blues were doing, that's a good steal from Geordie Barrett, but they'll go back for the original penalties. Sharks beat the Scarlets 32 points to 27. They certainly did, so getting the South African sides off to a great start in this round. We've got the 3 games of the URC that we are covering on the channel after the next Super Rugby game. Be sure to give that one a look. Does look like a lot of frustration here for the Hurricanes. Sounds like there's going to be another sub, but 16 minutes remaining on the clock. 27 points to 19. Brumbies currently do have the handy lead, and it looks like the changes are happening. Grant making his way onto the field. TJ Perenata, he is getting taken off as well. That is for Richard Judd. There's the crowd. A clap as well as he makes his way off. TJ. 10 metres from the line. Thrown in nicely by the Brumbies. I know how much I don't watch URC. Rugby is too slow. Is it? What games have you been watching, Stian, out of curiosity? Because I would say that a lot of the games are the complete opposite. Like, we're seeing games with 60 points scored, which I don't think you can really go too slow to score that many, and not train smashed if the Canes lose today. They will lose eventually, says Jimmy Cooper. And I mentioned it at the start of the season, or about maybe 5 games. And that's a great run from Tom Hooper. Did he get it down? No, he's been held up. But yeah, like, the thing is, the Canes, I think this will make them stronger, because if you go into playoff games undefeated, you just don't know what you've done wrong throughout the season, or not to the extent of losing a game because of doing something badly. Ample time. Yet Mana says VKM. And Super Rugby says stand and bring on Balin Sullivan maybe. Says John, yeah, could be another option for them. Probably for Kenny Naholo, I'd assume you'd go with. Now Goddard, back across to the left-hand side, not Alessio. Away to Tom Wright, kicked him behind. Going to be cleaned up there by Richard Judd. I think there might have been Riley Higgins there. All available for them. Balin Sullivan is actually on the field now as well. They're inside of their own 22. Looks like Richard Judd thought about going back into the pocket to Cameron, and he does decide that is the best option. Towards the touch line. Noticed on the lineup that I actually have, it has Cam Roigard as the 10, but that is not the case, ladies and gentlemen. It is Brett Cameron for this one. A line-out throw for the Brumbies. Only 15 minutes now left on the clock. The time will continue to tick down as this game gets closer to its conclusion. Like I said, the next game is Blues versus Reds. Another New Zealand versus Australia derby. Should be just as entertaining as this one. Trying to look for the turnover was Peter Lakai. Wasn't able to do so. Referee was in the way of that one. He's thrown it into me. So it is now going to be the scrum feed. Now the commentators are saying that by throwing it straight into Angus Gardner, it's going to use up a little bit more time. I don't think they did it on purpose. Hamish, what's your team by origin? Says Mana Black. So I was born in Christchurch. So if I was based off that, it would be the Crusaders. But I no longer live in Christchurch. I live a little bit further south, almost halfway in between Christchurch and Dunedin. So I'm kind of smack bang in the middle. And this could go to Golden Point. It could. That's the thing. We've seen a few close games in Super Rugby. The Hurricanes have already gone to Golden Point this season when they were able to defeat the Reds. And big game up next. Come on, Queensland. Stand. Yeah, that game kicking off in 3 hours and 20 minutes time. We're going to be live on the channel for that matchup. Now going to the right-hand side here. Tamati Tua. The ball on the outside here. Andy Muir. He was taking a little bit high from Salisi Rayasi, but it's going to be the knock-on advantage in favour of the Hurricanes. Now Geordie Barrett waiting for this ball in the middle of the field. Thought about kicking it, getting a little bit isolated, but brilliant run from Geordie Barrett, who now puts the ball high. Was taken out late by Charlie Cale. Sets up for Kenny Naholo, who once again has dropped the ball. It's going to go back for the knock-on. Right, they've got the option of either a knock-on or a scrum. Oh, sorry, a scrum or a line-out. Well, the commentators were saying how it was an obvious knock-on from Kenny Naholo. How about the late shot on Geordie Barrett, though? If they're going to call one side, they've got to call the other two. Goddard. Tackled by Peter Lakai on the 22. Just say we're racing, was before Levels Raceway. Says Kiwi Gamer. Ball's going high. It's going to be knocked on. No, it's in fact backwards off White, they've said. So Salisi Rayasi tries to join the breakdown. Goddard is back across. He's still in possession. O'Kinney, bro. Did he get his fingers to wash, or did he forget to wash the butter off his fingers? Those commentary are very biased as a VKM. They have got a bit of it overall. Then they probably listen to the New Zealand commentators though and think the same thing though. Balin Sullivan, drop ball there from Grant. Goes up to Duplessis Karefi. Nice step from him. But he's stopped by Harrison Goddard, who muscles up. Now off to the left-hand side again. Balin Sullivan trying to burst through. That was close to the turnover for Andy Muirhead. Now Judd goes back to Peter Lakai. If they get a penalty from here, you wonder what would the decision be for the Hurricanes. Do they go for 3 points or do they go for the 7? Put him behind Kini Naholo. Starting to step. He has caught that ball, which is a great start. Watch on mute here in Sydney. Here's VKM. Now going to the left. Richard Judd. Not able to go through. Ball still there. Balin Sullivan up to Davida Mafaleo. And behind Cameron with the skip pass out to Brad Shields. Cuts inwards. The Brumbies defence is being very solid throughout this matchup. They haven't been committing too many men to the breakdown. They commit 1 or 2 and they are normally there just to cause a bit of a nuisance. That's a knock on from Peter Lakai. And now the Brumbies have got this ball back. Nolo Alessio goes across to Jack DeBressini. Inside border, Charlie Cale. Space is there. Now for the Brumbies, they got plenty of numbers. It was close to 4 to Harrison Goddard. And they've gone back for the forward pass. Come on, the Cans. Useless as says Clipson. I mean, to be fair, they're 8 from 8 this season, so they haven't been that useless. It's just one game that they are struggling with against this Brumbies side, but Charlie Cale, he's certainly looking like an elusive option for the Wallabies loose forward trio, but then who do you put him in rather than? You've got Harry Wilson, you've got Jerome Brown, you've got Fraser McWright, you've got Rob Valentini. The list goes on of options in their loose forward trio. Now 9 minutes remaining at the moment. Don't lose faith in our Canes. Says Greg. Looking at the odds, the way that it currently sits, the Hurricanes are $8 underdogs. There's a long way to go on this one. Pass looked okay. Says, and yeah, looked pretty flat. Like, it was probably not the most forward one in this game that hasn't been called per se, if that makes sense. Like, we've seen forward passes worse than that haven't been called. Blake Scott needs to pull up his pants. We have there, it could be Oz Reserve maybe. Says Annoy. You have big names there, Hamish, says Stan. And they still got 9 minutes left to come back. Says Clapson. Is it over 80 minutes? Any extra time? I like soccer, forgive me, I'm American. Know very little about the sport. So they still have, like at 80 minutes, you play until there's a stoppage per se. Unless it's a penalty, then you continue playing, right? So if there's a knock on and then the ref blows the whistle, that's the end of the game. But you don't have extra time per se, but you can play after the 80 if the ball hasn't gone out or there's some sort of stoppage, if that makes sense. Hopefully that helps. Leota Gamble Kale, best back 3 in Australia right now, says Razor. And win the comp, and I'll quickly forget about the losses. Okay, a little bit of a warning there from Angus Gardner. Crowd is starting to get quite excited as we close into the final moments of this contest, but they also are nervous because they know that this job is not done. One more try converted for the Brumbies secures this game. Got your thanks. I understand what you're saying, says Iwo there. But one more try for the Canes makes this game a whole different story for the final moments. They've been told to play it. Commentator said it was a penalty advantage, but it is not. It is just play on. Balin Sullivan now. Looks like, there's an injury. It's a bad injury too. It looked like a bicep or a shoulder for one of the Brumbies players. He was kicking and screaming in back play. Another knock on from the Hurricanes. That is going to be once again, unfortunately for him, Tupu Tupu, a man who probably didn't expect to play too much of this game, had to come on early for James O'Reilly. They're kicking it downfield. The advantage is over. Fantastic kick from the Brumbies down into the 22 of the Hurricanes. A razor, they play good, but can they step up to international? That one's going to be kicked in a touch, and now we have got the stoppage for the injury. Is that Sifu Kautai? It might have been the arm of Blake Shop. Yeah, he's in a lot of pain. They're getting the green whistle out. So his day's going to be done. And the question is whether or not I think his season's done as well. They're saying moving his legs is a great sign. It's not his legs or his neck that they're worried about. It's the shoulder. It bends the wrong way under the weight. It's just a really ugly one for him when he folded. I don't think the Canes come back from here. No miracle this time. It looks like look like a prop. Yeah, it is the prop there, Blake Scoop. They're going to be bringing him off the field on a stretcher. That's if they can get him back on his feet. Otherwise, they will have to cart him off. James Slipper, though, has to return out onto the field. He was having a casual chat with Michael Hooper just before. Yeah, I think they're going to take all the precautions. We know that his legs are still working, mainly because of the fact that he was kicking his legs big time when he was in pain. And Black thinks, I'm trying to learn. I love sports and I love to gamble. Well, lands me here trying to learn, says Ewo. And there as well, but it looks like they are going to help Blake Scoop up to his feet. He's had the green whistle, I believe. Anyone who doesn't know what that is, it's pretty much you suck on it like that, and then it makes you feel all loopy and kind of like giddy, so that you slightly don't feel the pain. You just sit there kind of like, oh, this is fun, playing rugby. And then they'll do what they need to his shoulder. I love what I'm seeing. As your family are Blues fans forever, says Natasha there. Or sorry, as our family are Blues fans forever. Of course, we're going to be covering that game between the Blues and the Reds a little bit later on tonight. Anyone who hasn't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Only another 7.5 minutes remaining. How old is Slipper? 45. Aussie depth, and that is that bad. They have Jerry's playing, says VKM. So James Slipper, he is 34 years old. He's not even the oldest player in Super Rugby by far, to be fair. Can you buy green whistles at the chemist? No, don't think so, Hanoi, because or else then people who ask questions like, can you buy them at the chemist, would want to try them at the chemist, and then they'll get in a bit of trouble. But normally the only way you get one is if you do some serious damage to yourself, which I do not recommend. He's been around forever, says Josh. He has been, but with being around for so long, you learn a lot. Definitely as a prop, you slowly get the techniques down. You start to learn quite a bit. Jack Perry attacked Tony Khan on Thursday. Did Uncle Krusty tell him to not listen to Cecil Terwilliger? I don't know how to say that one. He's been around forever. If the States took rugby seriously, they'd be unstoppable, says Mana Black. Yeah, Blake Scoop, unfortunately, coming off the field now. Hey, I'll buy one if I could. Yeah, I knew you would, Hanoi. That's why we had to let you know. If I had said yes, would you have been at the chemist tomorrow, Hanoi? AW chat during rugby, love it. Says VKM. Yeah, we were going to do a WrestleMania watch along, but we never got round to it just because of how much other stuff was taking place at the same time. Something that we know a little bit about, though. So on the slower streams, be sure to ask us some questions, and we'll try our best to answer them. Nice rolling forward from the Brumbies, dragged down. How weak is that prop, though? Got folded easy. I reckon Lomax or Tupou wouldn't have got injured. Says, no, I think that the problem is that the Brumbies pack in general were a little bit weak throughout this game. And unfortunately for Blake Scott, he just ended up with no one pushing behind him. Absolutely ham. Mania watch would be mint, says VKM. I'll go to the chemist today, says Annoy, but there's going to be another penalty to the Brumbies. Do they want the 3 points? I think that would be a good decision here. With 6.5 minutes remaining, I think that it wouldn't be a bad idea. Good pseudonym. Ewo, says Greg there. They're going for the 3. Will you be streaming Kansas City first game? No. When is it? Cats are now out of curiosity, but it wasn't on the cards at all. Definitely not if it's in the next week, just because we're pretty packed for next weekend, getting everything organised. This end to the Hurricanes win streak. Same for the Chiefs. Got beaten by Aussie sides. It's a bloody frustrating watch. Canes have been their own worst enemy uncharacteristically, says Razor. And yeah, unfortunately, they just had too many mistakes. And the Brumbies, they've been a lot more clinical than they were last week, and it's shown throughout this one. Brandon Cheesemate Waratahs there last night, says Mana. Good strike. It's at the post, and it stays in the field of play. Right, kick for touch. Not the B word. Says a VKM. And also, did I watch NFL, or did you watch the NFL draft yesterday? I actually didn't. I didn't even know it was on. If I'm being completely honest, that's one sport that I've never really been able to follow too much. Like, I feel like if I knew what was going on, I'd like it. I know that Lewis Rees-Zammit is in the NFL. I don't know whether or not he got, he's picked up by the Exeter Chiefs. Or sorry, not the Exeter Chiefs, but the Kansas City Chiefs, but Kansas Chiefs. I don't know where they're from. I think they're from Kansas. But I don't know whether or not he's actually in the squad that get to play in the games. Canes were very good last week, or weren't very good last week either, says Pete D. They had a few mistakes up against the Fijian Drua. Fortunately for them, though, the Fijian Drua made a lot more mistakes. I mean, last year when the Chiefs was winning streak. Says Brandon. Currently 4.5 minutes remaining. The Canes need a 3-pointer. What's your favourite sport, says Mana Black? It's between two, and it's probably rugby or cricket. The reason I say both is because they're very different sports, and we also cover both of them on the channel. So, I feel like they're very easy to like either one of them or both of them, depending on whether you like them, if that makes sense. Here comes Valentini again. Canes need to step up, says Verlin. Yeah, they need a try, and they need one soon. They can't afford to give away another penalty advantage. They can get a turnover here. It would be massive for them. Could take them towards golden point. Lewis Rees-Zammit not decided yet. Final squad will be decided later in the year. August, I think. Says Hanoi. Yeah, so that's the thing. You could end up getting signed per se, but then not actually getting signed, if that makes sense. Penalty goes the way of the Hurricanes. Amazing Brumbies, how sweet. To win against the Canes, says Spider Meek, and the Canes need to step up. 3.5 minutes remaining. Duplessis Karefi, the man who got the turnover. They talked about how he's had a pretty quiet game overall. He's had a couple handling errors. Now can he help his side back in the right direction here and help them get towards a victory? September 5th. Jeez, that's a wee way away, isn't it? So maybe. We'll see how it goes. And ready to throw this one in. And it's going to be slapped onto the side of the Hurricanes. Awkward bouncing ball. Richard Judd knocks it backwards. Cameron thought about the offload. Ball still there. Pressure from Darcy Swain. They need to get this out the back door. Doesn't seem like they want to release it though. I think there was a mistake from Richard Judd. He panicked and didn't want to give it off to his teammate. But his teammate would have been able to keep that ball alive. The Brumbies now have got themselves another scrum in this match. They'll use up at least a minute on the clock. Kenino Holo not able to rip it away from his teammate there, Judd. Darcy Swain. He's got a reputation of being a dirty player. The reason for that is because he tried to end Quinton Tobias' career, but he's still playing. And he's still effective when it comes to that rolling maul defence. Time over, Hamish. Says there, not quite, no. We've still got another 2 minutes remaining. This clock is wrong. The Brumbies the only team that showed up. Says Katzenell. And Canes had to score twice to win. And try won't do it, says Spider-Meek. A try and the 3 points would, though. So if they can win themselves a penalty here and they kick the 3, that would then put them within the winning margin that they require. I told you guys, Canberra curse. Says Mana Black. That ball's going to be fed in. Massive push there from the Hurricanes, but the ball gets just out the back door for the Brumbies. Now Tamati Tua. He's also going to be up there for man of the match. Him and Tom Wright have both been sensational throughout this contest. 90 seconds remaining. Oh yeah, he tackled a bit high there for old Caleb Delaney. Got a bit of a connection to the face. Ball still there. They're trying to milk the penalty there. Harrison Goddard. Would have even considered passing it into a ref if it meant that they could stall a little bit more of the time. Tamati Tua again, going back across now. Chance, Tom Wright, it's passed into touch. That's a big mistake from the Brumbies. The Hurricanes won't be able to take this one quickly. They have to have a little bit of attacking intent in them. They've got 1 minute remaining. So the thing for the Hurricanes is no matter what, they have to make sure they get some form of point and get within the 7 as Brumbies 12 eligible for Oz. I'm not actually sure. I thought he was from New Zealand because I think he's a Northland boy, but maybe he's got some sort of tie there. Stolen by Darcy Swain at line-out time. And tell you what, they're doing a massive service to the Blues here because if the Blues win their next game up against the Reds with the bonus point, they will move to first on the overall table. Staines' mistake cost them. Loss allows them to reset and charge towards the finals. They'll be back strong and win the comp. That's Larkins. That's Larkins is all about the big games. And Morning says Winston, welcome in Wise Hooper with the Sevens team. Because he's a decent Sevens player, but he isn't with them for this league, I don't think, of the Singapore Sevens. FFS Says Razor, and it's over Hale to the Brumbies. Says Spider-Mick, 2 seconds remaining on the clock. There's the siren. Goddard puts it back, and the Brumbies, after being defeated by 40 or so points last week, take down the undefeated Hurricanes at GIO Stadium. That is quite a statement after last week's game. And that's the first time that they've had a very comfortable win over a New Zealand side for the season. And rather lose now than the finals. Says Junior Ryder and Tossa Brumbies. And cheers from Fiji, says Sitavini. It's over. Out to the Brumbies. And also agree, Mr. Orlin from JSP. And that one a fire commentary, mate. Thank you very much, mate. Greatly appreciated. That the Brumbies locals, they will love that game big time. There was nothing that really looked too troubling for the Brumbies throughout this contest. Rat says Ben Bell. And thanks, Brumbies, for that one, says Steen. And there's another game, says, whoa, there is. The next game is Highlanders versus Force, but we aren't covering that game. The game that we are covering next is the matchup between the Reds and the Blues. And we are going to have a guest on that live stream, ladies and gentlemen. So if you are new, be sure, of course, to hit that subscribe button. But I thank you all very much for tuning in. The Brumbies get the win. They advance a little bit further up the table now as well. But thank you all very much for tuning in. And I will see you all for the next one. 3 hours time, that is when the next match between the Reds and the Brumbies is going to